All right, so this slide is probably worth over $100,000. You guys might have jotted down a couple notes on this, but make sure you have a keyword term or phrase that you want to own. And the trick here is going to be really important in the next section for architecting and protecting your position, is that this position has to be so valuable that no matter how long it takes to dominate that position, you want to put in the work. Because if you ever did dominate that sandbox, the returns would just be exponential. For example, if we can be successful in interviewing not just 33, but at 100 billionaires, and have a book called Billionaire Strategies, 300 Insights from 100 Winners in the Game of Capitalism, guarantee you that's going to open at least one door where we get some great deal done, or really provide like a halo effect for our whole company as being connected in the billionaire space. There's no way we could lose as long as we don't lose focus on that. And eventually, over 20 years, we get that done, then it's a win. For you, it might be something totally different. It might be related to the type of deal you do, the type of deal flow, being number one in your area. Maybe we want to own more dry cleaners than anyone else in Austin. Or maybe it's something in manufacturing or some other niche. So examples of this would be, capital raising is a niche that we're in. When people are raising capital, we want them to find our resources. And the trick is that you have to be so motivated that no matter what it takes and how long it takes, you want to be number one or number two in that sandbox, in those keywords. On planet Earth, there's no one else better positioned than you in that keyword term, even if it's going to take you a decade. And the strange thing is that if you have that mentality, then you are willing to do a lot of things that other people don't want to get out of bed and do. They're like, oh, that takes a lot of effort. I got to put myself out there. I don't usually speak in front of crowds, or I don't even know how a podcast works, or I'm not a good writer. Who am I to write a white paper or a book or a blog post or interview someone? You're not going to be willing to put yourself out there unless that sandbox is so exciting that if you dominated that, it would be worth $1 million to you. That's super important. When people don't take action, I think it's because they have a bad sandbox. They don't really believe in it. And so it's important to get that right and think about it. So we want you to write something down, but obviously this is all an evolution over time. Evan Pagan is one of the biggest life changers for me, mentorship-wise. He might be speaking at one of our events coming up. I'm trying to negotiate that. One of his concepts is that if you think about how do I make it inevitable that we raise all the capital we need? How do we make it inevitable that we have the best deal flow in the whole industry? For example, if you're trying to get deal flow in the self-storage industry, and maybe there's 7 little niche websites, some that look like from the 1990s that cover storage assets only nationally, and they try to be the broker that specializes in storage and works with people nationally. There's not many people that try to do that. But if there's only 7 of them and 3 seem to be the most active, and you approach those 3 and try to invest some of your money to help them either modernize their brokerage or support them, and now you own 5 or 10% of that brokerage business, and you get a first look or get to cherry pick their real estate deals in storage, or you tell them, hey, look, what fee do you usually get? And they say, 2% or 3%. And you say, okay, give us an hour and a half before you publish any deal or send it to anyone else, and if we take the deal in return for showing us the deal first, then we will pay you 4.25%. Or we'll pay you time and a half the normal fee you get, but we want a 90-minute look at it before you put it out to your list. If we say yes, then we have to go hard on the deal within X number of days, or we have to put a real offer down within X number of days. And if we jerk you around and you don't like us, then you can just change your mind and we do away with the agreement. But locking in the deal flow or locking in a flow of investors, in some states, lawyers and CPAs can refer investors to you and get paid a commission legally, even though they're not broker-dealer licensed. So doing something where, like we had someone who ran a hedge fund in Chicago, and they said, hey, I'm looking to raise more capital. And I said, oh, great, well, how have you raised capital to date? And they said, oh, from my CPA. And he happened to be of Indian descent. And I have a lot of friends who are from India originally by chance, so I know that they have communities within different cities quite often. And so I said, oh, well, by chance is your CPA Indian descent? And he said, yeah, he is, by chance. And I said, okay, well, the investors you got from your CPA, are they also Indian? He's like, oh, yeah, they are. So I said, okay, well, I can recognize someone's last name as being Indian many times. So if you had somebody, again, it could be from the Philippines or on your team, go and download the state of Illinois list of publicly certified public accountants and look for Indian last names and highlight all of those. And if someone look up all their websites, contact details, et cetera, then you could work that list of just CPAs in your state, and there's probably over 100 of them that are of Indian descent, and have it so they're paid an above-board disclosed commission, referral commission, and now you can go deep and systematic on what's already working for you. And those people have an affinity because you're local to them. You have things in common. You might be the same religion, might go to the same festivals, et cetera. So when I talk about being systematic, it's about that. And maybe it doesn't make it inevitable by doing that, but maybe if you went to every CPA conference association event in the state of Illinois because you had success with one CPA, and you went deep on Indian CPAs, and you went deep on Indian community events, that sounds like something that's close to inevitable, that you would raise a lot more capital than you are right now. So we often try to zoom in on what has momentum and take that and try to make it more exponential if you can, or acquire something to make it exponential. So Eben Pagan taught me how to do that, completely changed our business. Our third year in business, we did 7 figures in revenue, and we started with no money in the bank account. I had a $1,000 a month rent in Harvard Square in a basement, 300 square foot studio apartment. It was literally underground with a little tiny window. And the first month we were in business, we had $600 in the bank account, not enough money to pay rent the first month when I started Family Office Club. So, you don't need tons of resources to do this stuff.